everyone, and welcome. My name is Elena. I am joined here today by producer Marcela Fabretti and
Hello,
designer
everyone.
Fel Barros.
Hello, everyone.
I think many people watching us probably know you guys from the last live stream, but for those who don't, do you mind introducing yourselves again? Let's start with Marcela.
Well, of course, first of all, thank you for having us back. My name is Marcela. I am a producer for Simon. I have worked in previous Zombicide games such as Zombicide Second Edition, Washington DC, Fort Hendricks. I am also the producer for the upcoming Zombicide Rio de Janeiro, gladly working with Fel. And I'm also behind Looney Tunes Mayhem, Teen Titans Go Mayhem, Scooby Doo, the board game, many other cool titles that I am really proud of.
True, those are coming soon, so stay tuned. A
They are
lot of
coming
those are
so
coming.
soon. Yes.
And what about you, Fel? Can you introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Fel Barros. I'm the old guy in the house. I I'm the manager for the Z team, the team responsible for all things Zombicide, almost all things Zombicide. I was when I joined the company, I was lead developer for many of our titles like Rising Sun, Ethnos, Godfather. I did some of our games too, like Gekido, Narcos, God of War, and recently we spoiled for you the Rio de Janeiro. And of course, I was the lead designer for the Supernatural amazing pack that's coming soon for you guys.
Yes. Coming soon, as if maybe available now for pre-order. Can production confirm? Can you get it now? Can we get a link in the comments? So we
Yes,
are here
right
today
now.
to
Go.
we are here today to talk to you guys about our upcoming character packs for a franchise that has been requested ever since the very first season of Zombicide, I think. So we're very happy to introduce you all to the supernatural packs. Oh my god, there's just so many of them. Fel, what can you tell us about these?
Well, this was probably I've been on the company for 7 years now, and this was a very daunting task to say the least, because if you are a fan of Supernatural, you know how over the top the guys are over the 15, 16 seasons. So it was, it's like, oh, we have this very, very ancient weapon that kills everything. And that doesn't match really well with Zombicide because it has to be a challenging game. But in the end, we managed to, you know, as close as possible we can from the supernatural mythology. And of course, we are very happy with how they turned out, because they are so over the top that we did some very, very, very hard to kill abominations, and probably the most powerful pimp weapons we ever done.
Yeah, Marcella, as both a Zombicide veteran and a fan of the franchise, what can you tell us about this vast selection of characters?
Well, indeed, very, very die-hard fan of Supernatural. It's been a part of my life for many years. It was one of the first TV shows that I faithfully followed and watched like weekly. So yeah, I'm kind of, it's kind of emotional for me to finally have a Supernatural Zombicide set, like character set. And we try to, since there's so much going on in the series, there are so many characters, there are so many challenges, there are so many dying, going back to life, different words, different monsters that keep on appearing and are so hard to kill. We try to pick up what we thought could be the most iconic characters, both protagonists and monsters, from the different parts, the different, not the different seasons, because there are a whole lot of those, but from the general story of Supernatural. We figure out that there were some monsters, of course, some characters we all know which those are, but some monsters as well that were a huge part in the story. So they are either mentioned throughout many seasons or they appeared throughout many seasons and they are like a pain in the butt for the protagonist during many seasons. So we try to pick important things here and there, things from the beginning of the first season, as you guys will see, to the very final ones. We try to have things from all cool parts of the show that I am sure that all fans, from all Supernatural fans, the ones who only watched like the initial seasons, the one who dropped at the middle, the ones who watched the whole thing, everyone will get things in these packs that they will recognize and they'll like, oh, okay, those guys are cool. I remember this specific episode where they appear. I am pretty sure this will apply to everyone.
I see the comment saying that pre-orders are not live yet. Okay, the link is there. So before we are out, they will be live. Don't worry. In the meantime, let's take a deep dive into each of these packs. So starting out, of course, with the two brothers. So Fel, what can you tell us about this first pack?
Well, we have the Winchester brothers, and of course, we could not lose the a good pun with brothers in arms as their blue skills. So they both have brothers in arms. In both Winchester brothers have this skill, and one thing that we also managed to squeeze like because they and just a warning now, if you don't want any spoilers, I know that this is a very old series, but some people are allergic to spoilers, so we'll give some minor spoilers here. So they both die and resurrect a lot during the course of the 15 seasons. So we did a little homage to that. One of the red skills for the brothers is regeneration. You know, like they always come back with full life. So and of course we also have the alpha vampire and the Wendigo. Both I know people will complain, oh, why this character is not here? Well, there is like 100 different characters in the show, and we try to get, like a variable cast and some that were good for design to have oh, this would be a nice specific mechanic for them, and we only have 3 boxes, so Supernatural could have like a big box, a Kickstarter by itself, because there are so many cool characters, but we try to narrow down to some we like it. And as Marcella mentioned, we try to go to the whole arc of the series. And Wendigo appears on the second episode in the very first season, and it's very and it's a very unique, because on the episode you can see a Molotov being built by one of the brothers. He finds like this bottle, and like, oh, we can put fire on it. And this is such a Zombicide moment that we knew we had a Wendigo on the box as well.
I am
Yeah.
told our pre-order page is now live, so you can go there right now and check out these packs. But please don't leave us. Stay tuned here. So, Marcela, I think last time when we talked about these packs, we talked a lot about the Wendigo, but not the Alpha Vampire. So, what can you tell us about the Alpha Vampire?
The Alpha Vampire, what's cool about him is that he's the big bad guy in the dark. So he's the creator of all vampires, and throughout the series, the Winchester brothers, they deal with many vampires in several different instances of the story. But it's always okay, where are those guys coming from? And it all sums up to this big bad evil guy that it's so hard to find. And he's the evil mastermind behind like everything vampire related. He's the guy with the plan. So he's a boss. He's a vampire boss in the series. So definitely a boss fight.
I see a few questions here. Let's get to them. Do you need to be a backer, or can you purchase it anyway? And let's take this one to Marcella.
Well, you can and you should. I highly advise that you buy these packages right now because, as you see, you'll have a little extra for doing so. But these packages will be available in retail around next year. So you can wait, but I strongly advise that you don't.
Well, let's move forward to fact number two, I guess. So, who is here, Fel? What can you tell us about this one?
Well, here we have more Winchester family. We also have we have our hunter. We have Leviathan, and here I want to highlight the Leviathan because for the longest time I personally wanted to do uh, a character that would somehow possess mind control, something along those lines for uh, for Zombicide, and we managed to when we saw Leviathan. I think it was season 7, episode 1 or 2, where Leviathan possesses Castiel, and this was a very emblematic moment for us because, damn, how cool would be an abomination that could control survivors? And this was a major aspect, and how to make it come true was also not very simple because there are only so many words we can put on a Zombicide card, and Marcella is always very thoughtful about that because sometimes you go over the top with text. And also, Zombicide is and always will be a family entry game that's meant for everyone. Everyone can play. It should be simple. So it was a nice balance finding the right approach to Leviathan here, and we are very happy with how he turned it out.
We will cover Leviathan more in depth a bit later on, but now I have a question for Marcella. So, how long are pre orders up?
Pre-orders will be up for a full couple of weeks, so you guys have until September 9 to place your orders. So no need to rush, but
Just
don't
rush a little bit.
just a little bit of pressure.
Well, finally, let's talk about the pack that is exclusive to those who pre-order the bundle now. And that is pack number 3. So who's in this? This time let's start with Marcella and then I'll hand it to Fel.
Well, in this pack, we have Castiel, a huge fan favorite. We also have Crowley, also a fan favorite, with a very special game mechanic. And we have Michael, which I personally love to hate it. So I am not calling him a. I'm calling him a hater favorite.
He's your favorite. Well, what can you tell us, Fel?
Well, this was very nice because the Archangel being a very hated character for us, it meant we need to make someone that would give trouble to players. So the Archangel and the whole thing about opening gates and heaven and hell, all this. So one of the things that Archangel will be very annoying is that he opened his own spawn point when he enters the game, and that's always very hard to master. Of course, Crowley being a fan favorite, one of the favorite characters. Like if you ask Supernatural fans who is the favorite character, a lot of people will talk about Crowley. So it was and he's one of the characters that we have both as a survivor and as an abomination because he has this double-edged sword, if you will. And it's we wanted to make his version of Abomination very, very hard to tackle. And it's one of those that you're gonna look, man, this is broken. And yeah, this is kind of what we went for here. And Castiel also being a very strong character, and has having his own unique journey. We also managed to uh, give some unique abilities to him as well. And it was a very nice uh, mix of how overpowered they are, because these guys are like they are the super archangel, the king of demons, like very over the top stuff. And we need to dump down a little to make it work in a Zombicide real game scenario. Was a challenging proposition for sure.
Yeah. Supernatural is also, I think, famous for the sheer amount of different things they have to find and retrieve and go on a quest to recover or something, with all sorts of weapons that kills all sorts of monsters and creatures, etc. So of course we have plenty of those in these boxes, and I think we could talk a little bit more about them. Here are all of them. So what's I think Fel could go a little more in depth about this. What's the design process behind making these? Because they are very, sometimes very specific and sometimes very broad. So
Yeah, basically, Supernatural relies a lot on this narrative of this guy is invulnerable. The only way you can kill him is if you find this very, very, very old weapon that was done in the dawn of time. And now that you can kill this guy with this very, very specific weapon. So at first, on design, we had some stuff like like this weapon can only affect archangels, or this weapon was only deals +1 damage to archangels, or deal +1 damage to demons, or something like that. But then we took a step back, because, as I mentioned before, we are very aware of what's happening with our community and our players. And we were always very uh, like, okay, so these are amazing weapons, very iconic, and I want to use them in my second edition game. Can I? Yes. It will make the game easier. Yes. These are very, very strong weapon. You're gonna see. You can see all of them here, but some of them deals 2 damage. Some of them do even 3 damage, so it will kill abominations on spot. And that's something. And you're gonna see on the leaflets we added some. Hey, these abominations are very hard, so we highly recommend it that you use these these epic weapons on your game to match the difficulty. So, but as Zombicide players are really creative and they are very, you know, go all places, you can use, like, I want a super hard game. I'm gonna play Supernatural without these amazing weapons, or the other way around. Like, I wanna play with my kids. I wanna play a hard mission with fewer characters, then you can use these epic weapons to balance it out, And some of them are more straightforward, and because of how the flavor is done, like you can see like the the stuff like, oh, this kills everything. No one can survive like a bullet from this, a strike from this. This kills ancient beings. So we were very careful should not. They are, don't get me wrong, they're super powerful, but they are not like, oh, it's gonna be a cakewalk if you play with those, because it's still Zombicide, it's still a hard game. But we try to make it more broad. They uses for other uses in the game, and as we always mention, we know people will adapt this to other setting as well. So we were kind of, we keep this in mind. I think that's what's the message we want to convey to our community here.
Marcela, can you tell us a little bit more about maybe just pick one or two of them and tell us about their counterparts in the show?
There's something very funny actually about Mjolnir in the show, because the Winchester brothers, they get Mjolnir in like one of the mid seasons, and they simply keep it for like forever. They have it stored someplace, somewhere, and it's just theirs. And no one even mentions that. It's not like, oh, hey, we have a God's hammer on like the truck of our car, and we've held on to these for like 3 years now, and we didn't use it yet. They simply have it. I think this is fantastic. I really love this, but
It's really cool.
I think that's super funny. But yeah, it's just like Phil mentioned. Like typically, all of these weapons can kill pretty much everything. So, for example, that scythe can kill like everything except angels and archangels, and then an angel blade is technically the only thing that can kill an angel, but not an archangel. For that, we have the archangel blade. But then the first blade kills everything. So it's just like it's a power balance that keeps on replenishing itself because we keep on finding more overpowered stuff throughout the series. But they just have that hammer like stored safely somewhere.
I see a question, a very specific question, but maybe Phil can get it. Ruby's knife says rolled at least a 6. Does it mean it doesn't include +1 bonuses?
Yeah, it does not. You have to roll a natural 6 for this to, because it's the chance, right? Like, it is strong enough as it is. No, no shortcuts here.
Shortcuts. Well, we don't have much time left, but we were thinking you guys would like to see a little bit more about some of the abominations as they are so iconic. So we'll get one for each pack, starting with the one we mentioned a few times already, but the Wendigo. What can you guys tell us about these? Let's start. Who wants to answer this one? You guys can choose.
Yeah, I can talk about
Go ahead, Phil.
Wendigo, because we wanted to, because on the episodes it's like this. Uh, he is on a forest, it's dark, and he gets stronger in the dark. And so we went to match with the how, if he's close to our dark zone, he can't be killed. Simple as that. And of course, we had to make homage to the Molotov scene, and it's like, to eliminate him, it's Molotov only. No 3 damage weapon will be enough for this.
Very, very, very thematic in the show, right?
Yeah.
Marcela, can you say a bit more about that?
Well, the Wendigo, he appears on that very first season, and if you guys remember the first season of Supernatural, it's literally Monster of the Week. So it's the in that early, glorious, easier days for the Winchester brothers, they just had to worry about urban legends, pretty much. So they had Bloody Mary, they had the Wendigo. It was only I I'm sorry, I just saw the comment saying stronger chupacabra.
Yeah, now that I think of it, this would pair up really well with our urban legends pack for Zombicide second edition as well.
that I am sorry, that comment completely broke me. But
That's
yeah,
fair.
in those earlier, easier days, they were just hunting things that you've heard stories about. Like your older brother probably told you stories like that to scare you before you went to sleep. So it was very relatable in a way. And the Wendigo was one of the first actual threats they faced. And if my memory does not fail me, they kill with fire. Is that right, Fel?
Yeah, exactly. It's like this very CGI bad explosion when he's on fire.
Well, the second abomination we mentioned, I think Fel talked a little bit about him already. The Leviathan. But let's take a deep dive here. So you mentioned that this was a challenge because you can't have a wall of text, but you have to make an abomination that can control survivors. So how does that work?
Yeah, so basically, as you can see on his text, he will make survivors attack each other, and like we wanted to make sure it worked, so we went all like uh, there is a clause in the end saying moving if needed, meaning the survival will move as many spaces needed to make sure he can attack another survivor. And you don't want to be close to him to avoid the possession thing. So and that's something that came from listening to players, because we asked a few years ago about like what do you love about Abominations, and there was a one answer that stuck in my head saying we like when the Abominations change the normal play patterns of Zombicide. Like we need to play differently when this abomination is in play, and that really stuck with me. And now we all, when we are making a new abomination, we always strive for this. Okay, so the guys will need to have a plan to kill this guy, because in attacking another survivor probably mean kill and game over. So you need to, approach safely, make sure you have enough attack, you have enough bonus or whatever to make sure you can actually kill him before the mind control takes place, or maybe you give a crappy weapon and a Molotov, you know, and so there are some trickier and over the top skills. You need to think out of the box. I think that's the best solution to deal with Leviathan, and I think that reflects well on what happens on Supernatural as well.
Anything to add that there, Marcella, or should we move forward?
I just hate these guys so much. In this series they simply refuse to die. Like you do everything. You set them on fire, you shoot them, you stomp over the black mass that they become, and they come back. I am still frustrated by that, it seems.
Yes, yes. Well, now you can get your revenge.
I will. I will enjoy it so much.
Well, and finally, let's talk about Crowley, shall we? Marcella, can you introduce us to this guy first before Fel talks to us about the mechanics?
Well, he's a villain, but then everybody loves him. And then he decides it's not that interesting to remain a villain, so he's now everyone's best friend. But he's also a villain deep down in his heart. So we have this duality of the character. He's initially a demon. He raises his stats as a demon. He becomes a king of hell. He becomes like very powerful. He has his own agenda. And at first, he's like the main enemy from to Sen and Jin. Sam and Jin, they meant everything that's possible to ruin his plans of ascending on his status quo as a demon. But and they meet each other. They meet like several times, several different times in the series. They fight. They win some, lose some. They never like get it done. They never see it through the to the end. But then things change, and now Crowley needs the Winchesters because the Winchesters are the only ones who can help him achieve whatever it is he wants to achieve. That also means saving the world. So it's very fun to see. Oh, okay, I know we hate each other and we want to kill each other very much, but can we call it truce a little bit? Can we work together? And there is always this the relationship of this team is always very sassy because Crowley never really gets to be a good guy, a goody two shoes. He's still a demon. He still has his own plans, but circumstances brought that they have to work together, so they have to deal with it. And seeing that wrap up in the series is fantastic.
Okay, and Fel, how did you approach such a complex character and relationship?
Yeah. Well, so we went ahead and made both a survivor and an abomination, and of course the tactician being my favorite blue skill of all time, I had to make sure that it's my beloved would go on Crowley as well. And as for the abomination, he's one of those cases I mentioned that, well, you need a plan because he has three actions, and as the first one, he can be placed on adjacent to a survivor. So anyone with less than three health, it's insta killed. So yeah, that's gonna be a problem. And the whole
Harsh?
this is something that you're gonna see as we use it in some of the massive darkness, uh, the massive darkness abominations we did, and now here, and you're gonna see it in the future as well. The whole, if the abomination has line of sight to you, you are in trouble, and that comes back to the last one we mentioned. Like, so it's not about being it's not only about not being ranged when he activates, it's not being on line of sight, and that's really changed the dynamics. And during playtest we saw how uh, hard it is to not be in line of sight in some of the maps. So we and but on the other hand, if you have a character with like 3 or 4 health, you can use it as a bait. Crowley, you are on low health, and now you can kill him without spending actions. So you have this nice balance, and I'll take damage on purpose kind of play patterns that it's and I know players will be creative and think of some other uses for and creative ways to kill him, as the showrunners did throughout this series as well.
Yes. Well, I think that covers most of the supernatural facts that we have, which, in case you joined late, pre-orders for these packs are open right now. You can get the link to get them in the comments below, probably. If not, it's simon.co/supernatural. And pre-orders will be open until, I'm sorry, Marcella, can you go over that again?
Until September 9. So you guys have a whole 2 weeks to grab these 3 packs.
And expected delivery is next year, correct?
July next year. Yes. Also, the first 2 packs will be available at retail. So if you guys by any chance want more of those, or if you miss the pre-order, they will be there.
But we highly recommend checking out the pre-order, if only for the Crowley challenge, which, as
Mhm.
you saw, is very challenging indeed. So I think that's what we had for today. Thank you both for joining me. Any final thoughts from both of you? Let's start with Phil.
Well, I just wanna thank you again, Helena, for having me here. The old grumpy guy and working on Supernatural. I'm very happy with how this turned out. Expect this to be very very challenging. I hope you enjoy using those. I hope the fans will enjoy uh, seeing their favorite characters in action in Zombicide action actually. And final word, I would like to give some shout outs. And today, and I wrote the name. I'll murder your names. I'm sorry, but I'll try my best. To Francesco Chirico, who is the moderator for the Zombicide Fantasy page. David Crowther, who is a moderator for Zombicide page, and TIE Fighter, who is the moderator for the Discord page. You guys do an amazing job with our community, the Zombicide community, and I'm personally very grateful for the environment you keep there. It's very healthy, very nice, and it's very valuable for me as a designer, a developer for Zombicide to have these safe and nice environments that don't make me depressed to read through. And I know that you guys have a great part in that. So thank you, you moderators. You do an amazing job.
The Zombicide community truly is one of the coolest thing about the game. I think the
Yeah.
community really helps each other, and they create their own scenarios and exchange tips
Yeah.
and create versions. Like, I'm sure within weeks of the Supernatural packs releasing, someone will have developed the card to play them on fantasy or on
Oh
sci-fi.
yeah. No, they will take this print screen that we posted, and they will be there.
They are
I'm
already
sure.
hard at work,
Yeah.
guys.
Oh yeah. We showed too much. Now it's too late.
Yes.
There's already print screen running and people doing all sorts of things.
Well, any final thoughts, Marcela?
Well, if you are indeed already hard at work creating your own version of the cool new things we showed here today, please send those to us because we want to see them as well, and we want to share those in our social media pages. So please share on the good work that you guys do. And as always, thank you guys so much for being a fantastic community. Thank you for getting as excited as we are with the new Zombicide stuff that we keep bringing in, and we love to see the game line and the community growing, and the new things and the new challenges that we get to work on and bring you to your guys tabletop. So we hope you have fun, and I am pretty sure we are all thinking of the same song right now that we cannot nor sing nor share, but we all have the same song in your heads right now. So with this song, we will finish off this live. We hope you guys are excited.
We will carry on.
We will. Thank you all so much, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye.
Join the hunt, guys. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.